Hello, friends, and welcome to the No Bad Shifts podcast, a show for nursing students, new nurses, and all those in healthcare devoted to helping others and making the world for patients a better place. I'm Nurse Duda, your host, here to offer nursing tips, stories, motivation, and conversations with some of my favorite healthcare professionals so we can better learn to collaborate to make the hospital a more positive and supportive environment. Remember, with the right mindset, you really can learn from every day, and there really are no bad shifts. Hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of No Bad Shifts. I'm Nurse Duda, and today I wanted to talk about some ways to ensure a good shift ahead, and what can you do before even stepping foot inside the hospital to better prepare yourself for a more positive mindset and just a better approach on the day before life is even handed to you. Of course, there is so much that we cannot control that's going on around us. We cannot control the assignment that we get. We cannot control the nurses that are on with us that day. We can't control the aides that are assigned with us if we're even lucky enough to have them. Can't control who's in charge, the doctors we work with, the patients and the family members and their attitudes and so on and so forth and so on. But we can control us. So what can we do before even starting the day to ensure that we are in a good place in our own little bubble so that when all these other things start acting on us, that we can keep ourselves focused and keep our energy protected inside our own bubble. You know, they say that life is 10% what happens and 90% how you react to it. And while I definitely think that's true in some regard, because of course, however you respond to something is the life that you're going to lead going forward from whatever just happened. However, I might argue that 90% is more about how you go into a situation and the mindset you have and the type of energy you have around yourself, and not so much what happens going afterwards. Because if you're not in a good place going into something, chances are you're not going to have a good response coming out of it. And it's a lot harder to respond and react to things once it's already moving. Like once the train is going, it is really hard to reel that energy back in and lead from a place that you feel grounded and centered. Because it is so easy for life to just pass us by and we wake up, do the same routine and have the same mindset, walk into work, act tired, act annoyed, complain about the assignment, complain that we're short-staffed, complain that it's your third day in a row. Like, no. Start your day how you want your day to go. Decide that your day is fun and exciting, and I guarantee you will have a way higher chance of that coming to be than just letting life happen and seeing what happens to you. So there are a few things that I do before even stepping on the floors and writing down my patient assignment. So a lot of these are very simple and easy and probably not new ideas that you've already heard before, but I think it really helps when we are just intentional and mindful about how we start our days. So the very first thing for me that always puts me in a much better headspace is just waking up and being excited about the day. I try really hard to just wake up and be like, I'm so excited to see what floor I'm on and what nurses I'm going to work with and what kind of patients I'm going to have and what kind of stories I'm going to hear and what I'm going to learn from coworkers or from a doctor or a therapist. And I think about just hoping that I can make an impact on someone's day or life. And I just try to use my morning as a time to show some gratitude for just the life that I have, the person that I am, and my ability to go and be a nurse. I know during COVID, I was just so thankful that I had a job to go to because I think I would have lost my mind if I had to work from home. I'm thankful that I have a place that is excited to have me there and I feel valued and respected. I am somebody who really does try to show a lot of gratitude and it's just something that I try to incorporate in my mind, in my day. Like, it'd be really great to sit down and write down in a journal all these things that I'm grateful for. But realistically, I just don't have that kind of time or attention span. So for me, it's more just starting my day and just reminding myself of those same things over and over. It's like the quotes that say, oh, instead of complaining about having to clean your house, like, wow, I'm so lucky that I have a house that's worthy of being cleaned. Or, oh, I don't want to work out. And more like, wow, I'm so thankful to have a body that's able to lift weights and go for a run. So I think I've tried to just transfer that same type of mentality or mindset into my actual day. So if you can wake up and say that you are so excited to go to work and see how that patient's doing that you worked with yesterday, or say like, oh, I hope I get the chance to try an IV today. I really hope I get one. Or I wonder what I'm going to be able to teach somebody or to one of my patients and what kind of impact I'm going to leave on them. I really do try to start my day excited and very curious. And I think this is something that I didn't always necessarily do so intentionally, but once I started to, it really kind of changed the whole outlook of my life and more of the idea that I am so excited to do my day and I feel so lucky to be able to be the person I am to do my day. Also, no shame if every day is not like this or this free-flowing, because it isn't always this easy or perfect for me either. And not every day do I want to clean and not every day do I want to go to the gym. But it is just a goal and a mindset to strive toward. The next thing that I always do to really put myself in a good mindset and to really get my energy rolling for the day is on my drive-in or when I used to walk to work or take the subway is to have a specific playlist or song that I listen to that just really helps give me this right kind of energy that I want to walk through the hospital doors with. So over the years, this has definitely changed. And it's a super evolving thing depending on what I'm listening to in my day-to-day or what's out lately. But I do pick intentional music or podcast to listen to on my way in that gets me in a feel-good kind of mood. I remember when I was a brand new nurse, when I used to take the subway into the city, I used to listen to the same song every day right before I was getting off the subway and walking into work. It is one of my favorite songs that just reminds me, to be grateful for who I am, to always be surrounding myself with people who are going to teach me and make me be a better person. And every day it just put me in this mindset, walking into the doors, knowing that, okay, I feel ready. I'm excited. Like, let's do this. It's like anybody who ever did sports growing up. Remember like having your pump up playlist or the songs that just got you super hyped, ready to go. I think we could still have that same energy just walking into work. Now, of course, you're not going to be like running miles or getting hyped to do double backs on floor, but it also feels like sometimes we do need our own little personal cheerleaders to help us get through our days. So if you can set yourself up to have your own internal dialogue, be your own cheerleader, I think it's a really powerful way to help protect your energy and to just stay focused on you and the energy you're putting out throughout the day. Actually, when I was in college, one of my best friends and I, we used to always listen to these motivational speeches on YouTube before we got ready to start our all-nighters. And actually now on my phone, I have a whole playlist of just like compilation motivational speeches that if I'm not feeling the best, I will just put it on and let the words like passively go through my ears until I feel better. Also, I am a little bit of a nerd and obviously love nursing. So I used to be really intentional about finding nursing podcasts or YouTube videos to listen to on my way to work as well. I remember when I transitioned to my step-down unit, I was working with a ton of different patients that had different diagnoses that I hadn't seen in a while. So on my way into work, I would pick a patient that I had the day before, and I would pick a topic and just listen to a podcast about it. So I would listen to either a podcast or YouTube video on like endocarditis or pancreatitis, GI bleeds, BiPAP, dialysis patients, alcohol withdrawal, working with a ventilator, all these different things that I really hadn't dove into like textbook type stuff since nursing school. And it was so helpful to have like these reminders. So I felt more confident coming in the next day if I had that same patient. And just as much when I switched to being a floating nurse, I would call in the morning, find out what floor I'm going to. And depending on what floor I was going to, dictated what I listened to on the way in. If I was going to a cardiac floor, I would listen to something cardiac related, brushing up on my BP meds. Or if I was going to the stroke floor, I would brush up on my neuro assessments. Or the oncology floor, like different types of onc patients and the different chemo treatments that they have and complications that can arise. Just little things to help acclimate me to whatever I was probably going to dive into that day. It got me excited and also made me feel a little bit more confident. So whatever you decide to put in your ears before you walk into work, make sure it's intentional and is whatever you and your soul needs to hear to get you excited for the day. So the third thing I'm going to tell you, again, is probably not new, is just to really try to leave anything that is weighing you down from the outside world, to just leave it at the doors. If we can really just try to visualize things that are weighing us down or things that are stressful going on in our life, or any emotional baggage, if you can really just try to think about putting it down for the next 12 and a half hours. We are very complicated and busy humans, and we have so much going on in our personal lives, our relationships, our families, our kids, our animals. And of course, it's our life. It's all these things that we love and care about so much, but also takes up a lot of emotional space in our brains. Of course, this does not mean that we're going to forget about it or we're not going to address something once we are done with work. But if we can just visually think about putting it down, leaving it at the door, leaving it in your car or whatever, and walking into the doors of the hospital with a clear mind, ready to take on whatever is thrown at you for the day. I have really tried to get into the habit of just telling myself that if there's nothing I can do about it for the next 12 and a half hours because I'm at work, then I'm not going to let it take over my brain during that time. I know it will be there as soon as I'm done working and can address it at that time. This has really allowed me to be so much more present with my work and with my patients, and to just keep my mind focused on what is right in front of me and how the day is unfolding. As humans, we are just so distracted, so much coming at us all the time. We have an infinite amount of information that we can input into our minds at any time, and our brains are constantly stimulated. So if there's any way to help combat that by just very intentionally telling yourself to just put things down in your mind, or you are going to just put it out here and you will figure it out later. But for the next 12 and a half hours, you're really going to try to just be focused on the people that are around you and the situations unfolding, and really like what's going on with your patients that day. Because I think what sometimes scares us in our days is that we feel like we're going to miss something, or we're not catching a change or a deterioration going on in a patient because we have so much going on. And that's just inside the hospital. So now tack on other people's stress and emotions outside of the hospital, and it is too much for one person to take. And now, of course, I understand that life carries on outside the hospital and people have family and friends and things that are going on. And of course, there are things that we cannot always ignore. But if you can be mindful about the things that you can put down and try to put out of your mind, because there's no sense in worrying about something when you cannot change it while you're at work anyway. This is something that I have really adopted everywhere in my life. I have put so many of my apps and all these notifications on my phone on silent, or I just have them so that they don't even notify me. And throughout the day, I just have my phone on Do Not Disturb. And it just really helps me to just stay focused and present and to just stay with myself throughout the day without constantly being distracted from a million different avenues. I've really noticed that on the shifts that I am most present is when I notice that a patient seems really anxious, or if a patient is having a really hard time accepting a new diagnosis, or if a patient seems nervous and wants to ask questions but isn't loud and speaks out. It's the times that I'm fully present that I can pick up on those things, because I know myself when there is so much going on, it's really easy to just gloss over those simple things that really do make a difference in a patient's life. So the more we can be focused and present and there with our patients, the better it is for everybody. So all in all, those are just 3 very simple tips to incorporate in your day to just have a more intentional approach for the shift ahead. Because I really do believe the 90% of your day and your life is this part right here. It's how you start it, it's how you go into it, it's how you approach all these situations. So let me know what you do to start your day. What morning routines or rituals do you have that set you up for a successful day? Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. Go have an intentional start to your morning, and I hope you have an amazing day, and may you find light in every shift. Until next time.